manifestation community. The link is in the video description. So if you're into manifestation, you want to learn techniques how to manifest your dream life and to improve your current circumstances, or let's say you're having some obstacles and you want to manifest your way over and above them, then this community is for you. The link is down in the video description. Do check it out. It's currently free to join. I do plan to charge in the future, but right now we are 47 members and climbing. No, sorry, last checked 49. So we're almost crossing the number of 50 in the community Inspire at Random, and I welcome you to join in if this is something that you find that is what you're looking for. In today's topic, I'm going to be talking about why do we feel what we feel. I've got a whole bunch of stuff written up on it. It was something that, once again, I just felt very inspired to talk about this topic because I was going through a course, on a Mind Valley course by Paul McKenna. And Paul McKenna, as you know, he's into hypnotherapy. He is an NLP, and he is a famous hypnotist that had his own TV shows. And he was explaining something about why do we feel things like anger, fear, frustration, guilt, and sadness. So there was an infographic that summarized all of these things that I wish to share with you on this video. And I want to put some of my own stories to it so that you can relate. I will also guide you through some activities that you can identify some of these emotions, some of these negative emotions. And this video is not directly related to manifestation, but it is also linked because how we feel in our inner reality affects our outer reality. And if we feel bad on the inside, what is on the outside will not be good. So if we allow ourselves to be caught in these states of anger, of fear, of frustration, of guilt, of sadness, it's going to be an obstacle for us to get towards the life that we desire to be in or the goals that we wish to have. So I'm going to start with the very first a run through of all these different categories, and the first one being anger. Why do we feel angry? All right, we feel angry because our boundaries have been violated. The last time that I was angry, the last time my boundaries were being violated, was like having to was made I was made to work overtime, and working overtime on that one occasion, it made me miss a planned activity with the kids. And every moment I was working overtime, I was feeling the I was kind of I was feeling more and more upset about not being able to spend the quality time with the kids that I was planning for. So that's anger, all right? I'm gonna talk about fear. Why do we feel fear? We often feel fear when we are not prepared for something. If there's a task at hand, and let's say someone is going on the stage, and then you stage fright, right? That's a kind of fear. For me, one kind of a fear was a fear of failure, and I had high expectations of myself in a track event. I remember how, like, when I was 15 years old, I signed myself up for a fitness assessment, and that was to get like a certificate, right? And the fitness assessment involved various stations. There was like the pull up, the broad jump, the shuttle run, and flexibility. And for most of these ones, I did well. I did very well. Like, it was like in the A rating for all of those. Hey there, thank you for tuning in. And the last one, which was also the one that mattered the most for me, was the 1.6 mile run. So I started out the first 2-3 rounds very well. In fact, I brought my spiked shoes for that. So I was like the only one at the event who did the 1.6 mile run with spiked shoes. And Uno is not the topic for this video, but thanks for commenting. So I was the only one who wore that, and that alone made me stand out. maybe I would feel less pressured if I went in normal shoes. What happened was that I dropped out after 4 rounds because like I was setting my mind on a certain goal, and I feared that if I continued for another 2 rounds of the track and I did not reach that goal, then I would feel like I failed. So I actually dropped out, and people were wondering why I dropped out of the event, even though I did so well up to that point. So, like sometimes, we're just setting like really unrealistic expectations for ourselves. But then again, that can be a cause of fear. The next one, why do we feel frustration? Frustration is when we do not achieve a goal in time. Oh, that's a very good question. How about if you reach that goal? Yeah, so it's like I was too fearful of finding out, and at a point of time, I think I felt I was a bit underprepared still, and like at that time, I was one of those people. By the way, that's a very very good question. I was one of those people that I was already good, right? But like for whatever reason, maybe it was like youth pride or something, and then I would try to BS that I was even better than that. So if I could run, I knew I was very confident of running the 1.5 mile in 8 minutes and 45. Anything about 8 minutes 45, 8 minutes 40, like well under 9 minutes. I was confident of that, but I was BSing people that I could do it in 8 minutes and 14, and I wanted to get a certificate proof, you know, that I actually could do it. So that's why I signed up for that fitness assessment, so that I will have a certificate with my time on it and of the gold medal, of course. So I put all this ridiculous pressure on myself. Yeah, so that's basically the answer for your question. Um, all right, coming back to frustration, not achieving a goal in time. Like for those of you who've been following my channel, I've been talking a lot about my story, my challenges, and a lot of it that in my journey of manifestation, uh, which in the last 6 months, I think I've been manifesting more things than ever before. But before that, okay, although I manifested a lot of things, but what you found me saying, a constant theme of my videos in the past used to be like, oh, I manifested, fitness, I manifested like health, opportunities, even my dog, my cat, blah blah blah. Yeah, but by the way, I actually manifested like a free Maine Coon that's worth actually quite a lot of money. Yeah, so I manifested a lot of things in my life except for money, because one of the constant things that have been happening for me was that like my work goals. I work in like procurement and project management, and a lot of projects have just not been going so smoothly due to like a lot of external factors like the economy, policy changes, and etc. So when these work goals got shifted and shifted, the timeline got shifted and again, that caused a lot of frustration. All right, so that's frustration. No, my goal, I have many different goals, not just money, many different things. Um, okay, next, guilt. Guilt is, we feel guilt when we do not reach our standards in life for any particular thing. Um, and I would just like to share, because when I actually wrote all this stuff down before making this video, one of the things that came to mind in terms of guilt is like, and I want to share this because I know a lot of young people also watch my channel. So in dating, right? When you are not, when you feel that you're not good enough for someone, that's guilt. But at the same time, when you're dating someone um, that for the wrong reasons, like you're dating someone who makes you feel that you're better, but actually that was because you are dating someone beneath your standard. You're trying to settle for less when you knew that you could do better, and as a result, maybe you're feeling like you're doing yourself and the other person a disservice. So that's just one example of a guilt, all right? Um, Next, sadness. Why do we feel sad? We feel sad like because something is missing. Something is missing in that place, that time. And for me, sadness is like a familiar activity, but a familiar person that I'm used to this activity with is missing. Like the last time I felt sadness, it was actually a bittersweet kind of emotion because the last time was when I went to a buffet and there happened to be these homemade style fried chicken pieces in batter. It was, and then it tasted the way that my grandma did it. I was very attached to my grandma because when I was young, my grandma pretty much raised me till I was 11, and that's only when I mean my mom and dad were like career people, especially my mom. So I lived with my grandma for most part until I was 11. So um, it reminded me of these fried chicken bits that my grandma used to do, and and except that my grandma is no longer around as well. So that was sadness for me. So okay, all right. So I'm responding to a comment. What topic is this? The topic of this video is why do we feel what we feel, and what can we do about it? So that is the reason why I was talking about why we feel certain things. Like what are the reasons behind why we feel angry or fear or frustration or guilt or sadness, and what do these feelings indicate, right? And because my channel is about manifestation, manifestation is basically to bring what are in our thoughts into the reality that we can experience. So, such as, I want to manifest a better life for my family. I want to manifest a better house. I want to manifest more free time. I want to manifest, um, you know, various things. I mean, I just it's like my book of things I want to manifest, like a manifestation shopping list, so to speak. Okay, so in this part of the video, and by the way, when I make this video, I actually plan to edit out certain parts so I can repost it to my channel as well. So I would like to, in this part, like, for those of you who have a pen and paper, or even if you do not, but you want to participate, what you can do now is I would like to invite you to think of the last time you felt in a certain way. You felt any of these things like anger, fear, frustration, guilt, or sadness. Um, and I will also, this can be the last time that you felt these things, or it could also be like the first thing to mind, the first thing that comes to mind in regards to, yeah, you're actually the only one chatting on this particular video. I invite everyone else watching this to kind of like say hi or type something in the chat if you like. I do respond. So anyway, thank you for coming in. I see some people have joined as well. Um, so when you're watching this, and you can type this as well, or you can say, you can think this in your mind. And there is a reason for this activity. I will help to give you some emotional freedom. And maybe it's not like I'm trying to help you get some emotional freedom. I'm more like I'm trying to help you get some emotional freedom from these thoughts that you may have had, and so such as like anger. Like when was the last time you felt angry? And at the same time, there's another alternative. What is the first experience of anger that comes to mind? Just hold that thought in your mind. All right. Remember again, anger is when boundaries have been violated. So think of an experience, the last time or maybe the first experience that comes to mind where your boundaries have been violated. All right. Um, think of the last time or the first thing that comes to mind when you felt fear. All right. When was that? What experience it was? Just try to summon a picture or a video into your mind. And we're going to be addressing all these things afterward. Now the next one is, let's think of a time that you were really frustrated. Again, frustration is is because we did not achieve something, and then we feel frustrated. So think of a time that you felt frustrated. Think of a time in your hold it bring an image to your mind when you felt guilt, where you were not reaching your standards. It could be because you were down here, your standard was here, or you are here but you're picking something, you're taking like the easy way out, you're living life on a cheat code, in which sometimes you just feel like you wish You were not doing things like on a cheat code where everyone else was playing the normal way and still doing fairly good. Uh, and then think of a time that you were like, sad, all right? Uh, or it could be the first thing that comes to mind where you're feeling sad. Sadness is because something is missing. Now, in this next portion, hold all those thoughts in your mind for anger, for fear, for frustration, for guilt, for sadness. And now I'm going to, talk you through how to release yourself from. Thank you for subscribing. From these feelings, and that's as well as I can read my handwriting. I know my handwriting is kind of sucky. And here's a quick tip for those people who love to scribble just like me. When you read over your notes, right after you write them, then you can remember what those scribbles actually are and what they indicate, so that when you come to them at a later time, then you make sense of it. Okay, so the first thing here is releasing yourself from anger. Anger is again about boundaries. Let's think about how we can avoid the situation next time. You could be angry with something, about something right now, but let's imagine if we had an opportunity the next time. What would we do to avoid being in this way? Just the thought of putting ourselves into a better version of this current reality, it would actually provide us some freedom that whatever we're feeling right now, this is short term. But the next time we're going to get it, right? Such as for me, working overtime was what caused me anger because it was making me miss quality time with my kids, for instance. So therefore, the solution is, or my solution was to do things ahead of time before being asked, right? And the result of that, by the way, not exactly related, was that I got multiple work promotions within a short period of time. And second one, fear. Fear is usually because we are underprepared about something. We don't feel like we can do a task. A fear of heights, or fear of any challenge, maybe because we could have been better prepared, right? So the solution is simple. If it's underpreparedness, then how about don't worry, keep chatting. I know you're saying that you're feeling lonely in the chat, but I'll keep responding. So the simple solution to being underprepared is to overprepare. If fear is coming from the lack of preparation, simply overprepare it. But at the same time, I also want to share with you two statements in regards to fear. There will always be fear, except that there will always be fear. And if you're not feeling fear, you're not pushing yourself enough. You are too much in your comfort zone. Fear only comes because you are going outside of your comfort zone. So fear is like risk taking as well. And if you are not pushing yourself, if you're not taking risk, then you're not really growing. And in my other videos, I've also shared that if you're not progressing and you're not stagnating, you're definitely falling behind. And that sucks. That sucks to decline. So, what's funny is that in my example, like I used the fitness assessment example back then, right? So right now, I've gone like full tilt on preparation, and I'm like this like 40-year-old with a 20-year-old fitness. So when I go for age group competition, it's like on easy mode because I'm like way faster, way stronger, way fitter, no joint pains, jump higher, run faster than anyone else in the age group. It's like it feels like it's on easy mode when I compete, right? But however, to bring back the element of fear and competition, because I mean, when you play things, when you go through life on easy mode, it's not fun, it's not fulfilling. So I have to look into the open category. And if I go into the open category, that brings back the fear. The fear of getting beaten, the fear of not inadequacy. And that helps us to improve. And like I mean in darkness, well, there are obviously things that you can prepare for darkness. So like night lights, flashlights, equipping yourself with these things at all times. That would help you to escape these situations. And you can always over prepare, right? You can have extra batteries, extra flashlights. You get my point. Over preparedness is the way outside of fear. I mean, you could get those super powerful flashlights from Temu or AliExpress, the ones that when you turn them on, like the whole street illuminates, right? So let's go like full tilt, like what I did. I went full tilt. Um, Imagine I have a Discord server and invite everyone to watch the live stream. Nuke the chat. I wish I can. So yeah, like go full tilt. I went full tilt on fitness. Like I said, I have like a 20-year-old fitness, although I'm 40 years old. Um, and it's just like everything on easy mode when I compete in sports and stuff. Frustration. Okay, frustration. How do we get around frustration? Like, I gave my. If frustration is about not achieving a goal in time, I gave my coworkers, for instance, an example of like, let's erase this concept of time and let's use the analogy of planting trees. Trees grow at different paces because different parts of land where the tree is grown, they may have access to different minerals where they're being planted. Okay, we got someone else in the chat. Hi there. Yeah, finally, exactly. So, I've with regards to all these work goals that used to cause so much frustration because they get dragged on and pushed on again and again in the past, like I told my coworkers, let's just treat projects like planting trees. We have been affected by economic and external things in the past, like policy changes, blah blah blah. But let's not let that stop us from doing the great things that we do. Let's just do what we can. All right. If there's an obstacle here, no problem. All right. If we can't progress further on this, let's start something else. Start something else. Start something else. Start something else. Because if you sow, the more you sow, the more you will reap. And that's a guarantee. And why is agriculture such a profitable business? Because if you heard a thing called cash crops, there are certain crops out there that they can grow in such a short period of time, and they have such a short gestation period. And literally, the money that you spend and the money and time that you spend, planting these plants, watering the fields, right? What you can eventually sell them for in the market will be so many fold of what it cost you and your time and your actual raw material cost. So just keep planting, just keep sowing, and the harvest will be huge. It will definitely happen. So this is the concept that my company members have adopted, and I claim credit for that. All right. And relating to this point, okay, let nature take its course. Don't try to force a result. Let nature take its course. And in my channel, I have learned a lot from Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is the main speaker in the movie The Secret, which is the most popular publicly available movie documentary about manifestation. And inside of Inspire at Random, my school.com community, which is free to join by the way, link is in the description. I do have the You Were Born Rich video series from Bob Proctor in there. You can learn from it. And there is a workbook that you can download as well. Once again, the link to download that workbook and the access to that You Were Born Rich video series can be found inside my Inspire at Random School.com community. It's in the video description once again. Um, let go and let God. That is what Bob Proctor is very known for saying. Let go and let God. So we do the best we can. Let God take over. I got flash lantern or flashlight button. Okay, that's great. Now, next one, guilt. So how do we address guilt? Guilt is because something is missing. Uh, we can actually. I'm okay. I'm actually having some issues in reading my handwriting at the moment. Okay. All right. I'm still having some issues reading my handwriting. Okay, so let's say if guilt, uh, I use the example of, you see, the problem is that I've written some stuff and I can't read the first point that I wrote. Okay, so I've written here that if guilt is about celebrating something too early, or maybe your standard is too low, or it's something to do with your standards. Sometimes, if in my example, okay, like uh, I was celebrating, like, you know, my earlier guilt was because I was going for like lower standards, or sometimes I didn't feel like I was in line to the standards that I had set, and I was just living. Basically, it was like a self conflict in terms of standard, and like how to get around this. And let's say sometimes if we feel guilty about celebrating something way too early when we should be perhaps doing more effort, let's remember that the Japanese have a culture of celebrating something before they begin, and they pretend that the task is already complete. So the Japanese, when they have this culture of, let's say, we have a new project, we have a new scheme, and this is something that they even practice in places like Toyota, Mitsubishi, and all the big Japanese companies. They once they have a new plan, they announce it to the employees. They have a huge celebration, and smaller Japanese companies, they do a similar practice as well. And everyone goes like toasting with their beer glasses, and then omedeto, omedeto, like that's what they say. Congratulations, basically. Um, and if let's say your guilt is about receiving stuff, if your guilt is about receiving, you feel guilty about receiving gifts or receiving love, uh, like, and that can happen because a lot of us, we have like a lot of unhealed unhealed wounds inside of us, that we feel very unworthy of things. And even though anyone outside of ourselves may know that we truly deserve these things, but for some reason, we're just walking past it. We're not accepting it. Could be not accepting love from someone, not accepting gifts from someone, or someone gives you something and you feel bad about it. So if these are your problems, the way to address it is doing affirmation work. Affirmation work, it could be like affirmations that you are reading out, or affirmations that are being played back. There's no robotic affirmations. I actually talk about that in my previous videos. So just you go to my channel, search affirmations, you will get different kinds of videos, short form and long form, that pop up on how to address this. And if you go to my school.com community, I actually have just put up 222 affirmations, positive affirmations. And the beauty of listening to positive affirmations, you can listen to the ones I put there. I put them up as a subliminal one where you cannot hear the affirmations, and also another one where you can hear the affirmations. So they're both audible and inaudible. So I choked on phlegm. Audible and inaudible. Go to myschool.com. Go to the affirmation section in the classroom. There's a classroom category, and it says affirm your reality. Go inside there and click on 222 affirmations and you can play it back. You can also download it and play it on your phone as and when. So you can listen to it when you're studying, you're driving. And what's interesting is that these affirmations, they do influence the way you think, improve your self-image, and it actually does cause a lot of change, very surprising changes. Now, finally, we're down into the last category, the last page of my notes. This is about like how do we address sadness? Okay, how do you address sadness? And sadness is the like someone or something is missing, and look deeper into the cause. If it's a passion, if it's a person, would that person, like for example for me it was my grandma not being there, like when I tasted this familiar food that my grandma did so well, and when I tasted that in a buffet that I went to, and it reminded me that, oh, the last time I had this was when my grandma was around. I really love my grandma, but she's already gone from this world. And I was like, it was bittersweet as I ate it. And think about if there are cases of sadness due to the loss of a person, let's think about, like, would that person want you to be happy? Of course, right? So just know that somewhere, somehow, someplace, that person really wants the best for you. And everyone is consciousness. We are all consciousness. That's the cool thing about us. Like, what happens if we die? We are a consciousness. We could be a body, but we ultimately spiritual beings. We are all consciousness. That's what separates us from, other living things like plants. I mean, we are very conscious, and we have a spirit inside of us. And somewhere else in this world, it could be a person that's no longer around, but that consciousness, right, is aware that you are aware, and that consciousness wants you to be happy. So just remember that, and that could release a lot of sadness. And ultimately, if sometimes it is because something is missing, like something is not there, other than a person, let's think about maybe God has a better plan. Only one person can celebrate this live stream. Yes. All right. So maybe God has a better plan, and believe that is true. Believe that God does have a better plan for you. For example, when there was a car that I was really looking forward to buy, and the ready stock for that car is no longer available where I live in Thailand. And by the way, if you want to see what car that is, go to my last video. It's on my YouTube channel. It's in the last 20 seconds. It's it's in the last long video, not the live, not the shorts. It's the last long video I uploaded, last 20 seconds. You can see it. So when that was no longer available, I got kind of upset, but I believe that God had a better plan. And what happens is that in the months after that, there was this whole, EV, market crash. I mean, this whole car market crash due to the EVs. Oh my God, my neighbor is not starting his gardening right now. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this video up. So the EVs, like they were like BYD and the others. So they were slashed. One moment. All right, I just close the windows. That's gonna help for a bit. So the prices in the auto market for EVs, they slash prices, right? And then people in the used markets, they're like totally messed over. But because the EVs are now so cheap in Thailand, that and all these people are like so cheapskate. They're like, oh, let's ditch gasoline, let's ditch diesel, let's get EV. They're so cheap, and now all the used cars, they became cheap as well, and then people are ditching gasoline like crazy. um, I know they're gonna regret it in the future because these car makers, they just, I mean, if gasoline cars have value, right? But EVs, because of the advances in technology, the advances in batteries, is only gonna keep dropping in price. So there is you can forget about resale value. But anyway, good news for me because, like I said, the car I wanted to buy, there's no more local stock, right? Um, and then maybe people felt that the car is too expensive to run. Maybe people they saw, oh, they want to change to EV as well. So like I saw the cars that I wanted. um, I can freaking walk into a dealer right now. I can offer him the price I want to pay, and they'll just say okay, sold, or okay, not sold. Or I could go to the used market and save like 30%. So it pays to wait sometimes, and God has a better had a better plan. So God had a better plan for me. Um, like now is the best time for car, like house and car shopping ever. So I don't feel bad about like my work goals getting pushed on, because I mean, yes, it's delayed gratification, but I mean, huge discounts. Oh my God, huge discounts, like houses and cars slash 20 to 30%. Woo, awesome. Uh, oh really? You live in Thailand? That's cool. Um, yeah, and so I also want to give you one last concept. All right, flow. Uh, you might know about the Bruce Lee quote, "Water." Right? He's like, "Be like water." Uh, like when God denies you something, or when you don't get something, believe that God has a better plan for you. And if you just be adaptive, right? Often there's something better. Like when you try to when you try to push in one direction, and that direction is a dead wall, why don't you go the other way instead? You might find a better solution. And this has been something that I've been living with this concept, and I usually find that I'm being pushed in better solutions, better opportunities, ever since I had this new idea, this mindset. So, in this video, just to sum things up again, I talked about why do we feel what we feel, like what are the reasons why someone would be angry, fearful, frustrated, guilty, sad, and what we can do to release ourselves, and what can we understand from about ourselves because of how we feel. And if these things are blocking us in our life, what are the things and the mindset switches that we can do to get out of these situations and basically improve ourselves and open ourselves to much more opportunities and receive much more blessings that this world has to offer us. Thank you. You have been a great audience, and Nine, you have been such a great participant in the chat. Really, really appreciate it. Um, it would have been much more lonely if I was just talking to myself this whole time. Um, and anyway, if anyone likes to learn more about manifestation or how to improve your life, yourself, aspects of character, do subscribe to this channel, and also look into the community that I have, Inspired at Random. It is on the school.com platform. I do plan to charge in the future, but it's currently free. The link is in the video description. It's where that green button emoji is. So see you inside. Thank you, and watch my other videos.